Today on Bonsai by the Samurai, we're going to examine the life of bonsai on very thin slabs and what it's like in taking care of them. Well, you can see that slab living for this new tree, it has no depth in this slab whatsoever, and it's already at such a high mound that the only thing we're going to be able to do is put a thin layer of soil underneath, surrounded by muck, and have to water it 3 times a day. And I'll have to start getting used to living in the shade for the most part. We start with a very thin layer of soil, and then we're going to add the plant on, and then we're going to put muck around it, and then we're going to overlay it with moss. Today we're going to plant this Willow Leaf Ficus onto this white marble slab. I've been slowly but surely reducing the size of the pot, especially the depth, because I saw something at Heathcote Gardens where they had these tremendous Willow Leaf Ficuses growing on these white marble slabs and other slabs, and it just didn't seem like they had any root system at all, but yet they do, and it's usually just generally below the surface of the nabari, sometimes contained within the moss. We're going to use muck to go around the edges, and then after we do that, we're going to apply the moss, and we're going to get started now. Now that we've worked out the placement of the tree, this is the front side. You notice I got wires on here. There's no holes to deal with here. This thing could be toppled over by a big burst of wind, so it will be strapped down. Of course, the tie wires don't have to be down there when it's on display someplace, but so it doesn't slide off of this base. We're going to strap it down after we finish with the muck and the moss. And we're going to let the moss actually grow up into this area here. But we're going to start with the muck now. Let me see if I got it wet enough. And usually if it'll form a ball, that's really not doing a great job of that. So I'm going to add a little bit more water to it, using the old rainwater here. And it's sort of like preparing dough for some kind of bread. I'm big into making sourdough bread these days, so I do a little bit of everything. Being a bachelor, I don't cook, I don't eat, because I don't like spending money when I go out. So let's get started with this muck. And we're going to start down this side and just add it pretty generously, and keep going down the line here. Now what this muck does, it acts as the pot. It's like a living pot, which is pretty cool, I think. Otherwise, it's just a hard surface that the roots encircle. But here, they get the opportunity to actually let the roots grow through. So it's pretty easy to do. This is one of the easiest transplants of all times. It's just the aftercare that is the big deal here. Ever since I saw those trees down at Heathcote Gardens, I've really been wanting to try that. knowing how this ficus has survived in that really shallow pot, I'm pretty sure that it will survive on this slab. And it looks like we're going right down to the wire on the muck. So I think I'm going to add just a little bit of soil here at the end. Of course, there's soil on the moss, so I'm using a rather thick type of moss. Alright, that's where we are right now. We're looking at the back of the tree. So I'm going to take a look at this segment of the film and then get right back to you. Well, I've started the moss already. Let's get back into the game. It is really hot and humid here in Central Florida, so you can understand why I take breaks. I'm the only cameraman I have. This is really a very thick moss. I wanted to use thick moss because it has a lot of soil behind it. Knowing this planting wouldn't have a lot of soil, I opted to go with thick moss. So it's just a matter of putting it in place, pressing it down, trying to get the best look you can of what you got to work with. It's almost like little building blocks. You gotta kind of pull these little fibers out. They're roots from trees or some kind of plant. It really starts to come together pretty quickly. Hopefully I have enough moss here to complete this portion of it. If I don't, I'll have to go out and secure some more. Well, I did get more moss, and I set it out in the sun so I could get a better look at it, looking at the Nabari mainly. And now I'm going to show you some pictures from Heathcote Gardens of the ones that I was talking about. These big Willow Leaf Ficuses basically look like they had no soil. This one here is off of Facebook. There's a little forest off of Facebook on a nice slab. This Willow Leaf Ficus is in the National Arboretum up in Washington, D.C., as is this Chinese elm group and this other Pinjing group at the National Arboretum, also a Chinese elm. And here's another look at what I did today. Here's another dwarf jade that I did on a slab. Tiger bark ficus on another slab. And then here is my slab of ficuses. And one last look at this ficus.